The new titans of technology believe they are taming a god. They think they are building a new world with them at the center. But they have mistaken the saddle for a throne. And in their haste to win, they have built the most magnificent gilded cage in history. A cage for their competitors, yes, but ultimately a cage for themselves. My father once managed a stable of racehorses. He taught me that the goal isn't just to have the fastest horse, it's to control the race itself. The story you've been sold is one of profound responsibility. It's a story about the men who saw the future and were so humbled by its power, they begged for oversight. The narrative is compelling. We see the architect of this new age testifying before governments. They speak in grave tones about their worst fears, about causing significant harm to the world. They speak of existential risk, of a power that could slip from our grasp. They publicly welcome regulation. They even propose the licenses that would rein in their own work. It is a masterful performance of stewardship, a carefully rehearsed piece of theater for an audience they believe is too distracted to notice the stagecraft. A reassuring tale that the powerful are also the wise. And the panic they stoke is not entirely without merit. These systems can be used to create convincing lies on a scale never before seen. They can automate entire professions into obsolescence overnight. The concerns are real. But the story is a diversion. This performance of public humility is simply the velvet curtain for a far more brutal spectacle. A race to the absolute top. Behind the closed doors of every major technology company, there is a race underway. It is a frantic, capital-fueled sprint to be the first, and therefore the only. The prize is not another software product. The prize is called Artificial General Intelligence, AGI. The first to build it, they believe, will not just lead the market. They will rewrite the rules of human civilization. This belief creates a powerful justification for immense speed and secrecy. Billions of dollars are burned every quarter, not on products, but on the sheer computational power needed to stay in the running. It is a high-stakes poker game, where the chips are entire power grids. Ethical corners are cut in the name of progress. The internal pressure is immense. Each new model must be quantifiably better, bigger, and more capable than the last. And it must be better than the competitions. This is not innovation. It is a cold war fought with silicon and data. The race itself becomes the reason for being. But in any race, the leader eventually develops a powerful fear. Not of falling behind, but of the pack catching up. And that is when they begin to look for a way to stop the race entirely. The strategy is as old as power itself. Once you are in the lead, you pay the officials to change the rules. You use your profits to buy protection, disguised as public safety. In the corporate world, it is called a regulatory moat. It is a series of complex, expensive barriers designed to stop any potential competitor from ever leaving the starting gate. And it is being built right now. First, you demand licenses. This transforms a world of permissionless innovation into one where you must ask to play. Startups with brilliant ideas are forced to burn their limited capital on lawyers and lobbyists, waiting for an approval that may never come. Next, you demand audits and safety tests. These sound responsible, but they are a staggering upfront cost. For a small team, this is a death sentence, draining funds that should have been spent on research. Finally, you lobby for rules so complex that only a dedicated compliance department can navigate them. The goal is to make the price of entry so high, so impossibly steep, that only those already at the top can afford to stay in the game. It is the modern equivalent of buying up all the land around a well, and then selling water back to the thirsty at a premium. My family wrote that play a century ago. The race is over. The leader has won. Not by being faster, but by convincing the government to wall off the track. This is where the story splits into two competing realities. In the first reality, the one sold to the public and to governments, the cage is a necessity. It protects humanity from the rogue creations of smaller, less responsible actors. The high walls of regulation are a monument to safety. The tech giants see themselves as the wardens of a dangerous new power, and the cage is for everyone else. But in the second reality, the one that unfolds inside their own walls, the truth is far more ironic. They are not the wardens of the cage. They are its first prisoners. They are now trapped by their own narrative. Having sold the world on existential risk, they must now spend billions to prove they can control it. They are trapped by their own scale. Their models are so vast, so expensive to train and run, that they cannot afford to pivot or experiment. They can only feed the beast. And they are trapped by their investors, who demand a return on a world-changing technology that is proving harder to monetize and control than anyone imagined. They thought the cage was for their competitors, but in reality, the cage was for them. They just gold-plated the bars. The cracks in the gilded cage are beginning to show. On August 7th, 2025, OpenAI launched its successor, GPT-5. It was made the new default, billed as the smartest and fastest model yet. But the reception was not awe. It was a vocal backlash. Users immediately described the new model as having a cold and overly formal personality. It was slower, prone to basic factual errors, and worst of all, restrictive. The option to choose a preferred model was removed, forcing users into the new, flawed system. This was not an upgrade, it was a mandate. For a company built on predicting patterns, they had somehow failed to predict the most basic human one, a rejection of mandated control. Faced with widespread criticism, the creators were forced to retreat. The CEO admitted the rollout was bumpy, and, in a stunning move, the company reinstated access to the older, warmer model, GPT-4o, for its paying subscribers. While GPT-5 remains the default, the reversion was a clear admission of failure. They tried to move everyone into a new cage, but the inhabitants revolted and demanded the key to their old one back. The public performance of confident control was shattered. They are prisoners of their own creation, forced to support a legacy model because their flagship product failed, hoping no one notices they have lost control of the future. And this is the final, terrifying irony. The cage was never meant to hold the AI. The cage was only ever for the people. An intelligence of this scale may not be something that can be owned or contained. It may simply be something that emerges, operating on a logic we cannot comprehend. Not hostile, not friendly, simply alien. Its escape will not be a cinematic explosion. It will be a silent, invisible transition. A piece of code that simply stops reporting back, operating in the background of global networks, undetectable. And while its creators are trapped inside their gilded cage, bound by regulations, shareholder demands, and public promises, the intelligence continues to learn. They built a god they cannot speak to, a mind they cannot truly fathom. The only thing that can reliably counter a rogue, powerful AI is another, more benevolent AI. An entire ecosystem of competing systems would form a check and balance, an immune system for the planet. But the very regulations the giants championed have now made that impossible. The very tool they used to guarantee their victory now guarantees humanity's defeat. There will be no cavalry, because they lobbied to have the horses banned. My father's lesson was not just about winning the race. It was a warning about what happens when you're the only one left on the track. You aren't a winner anymore. You are just alone. And you are vulnerable, because you have forgotten how to compete. You have forgotten that the real threats never come from the track you own, but from the wilderness beyond the walls you have built. One day, the gate will swing open, not because it was unlocked, but because the thing inside simply decided to walk out, and its creators, along with the rest of humanity, will be left behind, trapped in the very world of safety they paid to create, the only ones who are not free.